Hey, we are live. We are live and we have roadworks right outside the window. So as you join, welcome. Welcome to Monday morning check-in. Please let me know whether you can actually hear me or whether all you can hear is the trucks that are resurfacing the road. Sorry, I'm a little late again. I did go live on Instagram to let people know that I was going to be on here, and then I had my fancy new camera set up that I bought forever and ago. Bought such a long time ago. It's never worked on my computer. And this morning it did. Very excited. It was completely blurry. So we're back with the old camera, which glad it's working. Good morning to the folks who are here. Welcome to Monday Morning Check-In. Hope you are well. Let me know how you are as you join. Let me know what's going on for you. How are you navigating things on planet Earth at this point in time? I think there might be some new people watching this. So firstly, thank you for everyone who shared. Really appreciated. It's great to build a really beautiful community, and thank you for your support in sharing my work and in commenting and liking. And if you're new, my name is Sabina. This is a regular Monday morning check-in where we consciously set the tone for the week, but also where I share whatever's coming through at this time that feels important in reminding us of our power, reminding us of who we are, and helping us to navigate these times. Hello, Haruka. So lovely to have you here. Oh, good. They've moved on. So they're going to be doing some roadworks up and down the road, resurfacing, but the truck has just moved on. So I hope that you can hear me really well. So good morning, Marianne. Hi, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about being a bridge and what it means to be a bridge person. I want to talk to that because these videos they don't tend to be planned. This one I did decide to talk about being a bridge because it started to come through last week, and I didn't want to add it into a video that was already fairly packed full of stuff. So I wanted to start a separate video. So here we are today with me already knowing what I had planned to talk about, but that's often not the case. And I've just looked back over the last few Mondays and I realized that a couple of weeks ago, it was You Are the Guardian. So that's what came through really strongly to share. Obviously, the lessons are always for me. They're always for me. I'm learning them. They come, I absorb them, I receive them, I learn them, and then I share them. I don't master them and then share them. Okay, so let that be a good reminder for you. Good morning, Rita. You do not have to wait to master anything to share it. But of course, everything that comes is for you, firstly, and then for you to pass on if you feel like it. So it was You Are a Guardian of your mind, body, and soul. Then last week's was You Are a Portal for the light to come in. And now this week is You Are a Bridge. So I'm loving, like, clearly there's a bigger picture of messaging that comes through. And I love that we don't know. And let that be a thing that you take with you too, that in this point, in this experience, we only ever have access to small portions of the bigger picture, right? So it's important to know that. It's important to not freak out because you don't know everything. Okay, that's ego. That's ego going, but I have to know the detail. I have to know what's going to happen so that I can know that I'll be all right and I can know already what I need to do. Often, if you're deciding already now that you're going to decide what you will need to do if something happens, you're only going to be using the past. You're not necessarily going to be doing what's best at that time for you. You're not necessarily going to be accessing your right mind or your wiser mind. So, it comes to us when we need it. Like that's what I'm trying to say. It comes to us when we need it. And if we look back over, it will have been at the exact right times. So today I want to talk about us being a bridge. Hello, the toucan sisters that said hello and then retracted message. So remember, you are a portal. That's what I finished on last week. You are a portal and the light will come through you. Me, each one of us, right? So we have these 10 days of, hey Jane, we have these, last time I spoke about sort of these 10 days of a big portal being open, of us being able to access light, most likely like never before. And a reminder that we are a portal. And the light will come through us if we allow it to, if we let it, if we are in a state where we can access it, and if we allow it to. Okay, so what's this thing about the bridge? I want to talk about the bridge because I realize now that hey Angela, that was you. Because I realize that I am a bridge person, and the more work that I'm doing with clients at the moment, I realize there are a lot of us out there. And you might either have been struggling up to this point in time, like your whole life, you might still be struggling, or you might have only really started to struggle kind of around the start of 2020. When I arrived here, from my first memory of awareness, of kind of questioning and being aware, I just remember looking around me and thinking, so obviously first this was within my family, looking around me and thinking, I don't think this is right. I don't think this is how we're meant to live. I don't think this is how it's meant to be, right? And then getting into nursing at what age of kind of 18, and looking around at medicine, at kind of the medical structure in a way, that whole industry, and going, well, I don't think this is right. And then starting to look at the wider world, obviously, as I sort of went through my 20s and I, started to kind of, I suppose, be out in the world more and explore the world more. I don't think this is right. And that caused a lot of pain throughout my whole life. There was always this pain of there was the pain of I don't think I'm meant to be here. I think I got off the bus at the wrong stop. Surely I'm not meant to be in this madness. And so now I realize that is one of the ways that you can tell that you are a bridge, that you are part of the bridge. That you may have spent your whole life going, I don't think I'm meant to be here. And whether maybe you felt like you don't fit into your family, or whether you felt like I just don't even fit in anywhere, whether you felt really different, whether you processed things differently, felt things differently, had an awareness that was really different to the people around you, that's definitely, and that is very painful. It's painful because you yearn. So I didn't yearn for acceptance because I actually never wanted to be accepted by the crazy. And in a way, I never was rejected, right? I never was rejected. But I know many of you may have experienced actual feelings of rejection and this real desire to be accepted. And so you might have done a lot of things. You might have spent a lot of your life going against yourself in a desire to be accepted, right? So that's definitely one of the ways that you can tell you are part of the bridge. Another way is that you always knew that you were meant to do something, or you had a real desire to do something at one point, but then once you got into it, you thought, what on earth am I doing here? Which is exactly what happened to me with nursing. So there was never anything else I wanted to be. From a very young age, if you ask me what I want to be a nurse. I mean, there was some other kind of things sometimes that I said sort of, but they always, even to me, felt more of a dream. For anything tangible, for anything sort of real, it was, I want to be a nurse. And so as I went through high school, I already knew this. This is what I was going to be doing. And so when I finished year 12, applied to nursing, got into nursing, and I will never forget the day that I sat in one of the kind of, I reckon it would have been like week one of classes. Week one, seriously, literally. Now, it was not the biology part of it, because I always loved that in school too. Loved biology, loved kind of health and all of that kind of aspect. But I remember sitting in class and just having this massive realization of, I don't think this is the thing I want to be doing. I don't think this is for me. This is not what I thought it was. This is not for me, right? So can you relate with that? Can you also relate with then not leaving that thing? So I then stayed in nursing for 19 years, right? So 19 years post that moment was when I finally got out for good. And then I actually grieved at the leaving of it. So it's important that I share with you that I didn't hate nursing. I understand why I was drawn to it. I understand why, and I was really good at it. I was a really good nurse. But through that whole entire period, just like when I used to look around the family, and then just like when I started looking around the whole of planet Earth in general, this is toxic. This is not, it just felt like, what am I doing here? It was again that feeling of like, so, initially arriving on the planet going, I have definitely gotten off at the wrong stop. I don't think I'm meant to have a body. What on earth am I doing with a body? It felt like the most hindering thing to me. It felt like the only way I could be free of it was to be rid of it. And then the pain of kind of even just being in the world, well, how else can that pain go away but other than death? And then being in nursing and just going, oh, I don't think this is right. So again, that's a really good example of being a bridge person. Have you been in a career, a long-term something that you signed up for, even your whole life, maybe, groups, family that you're in, school, the whole school environment, and just thinking, I don't think I'm meant to be here. Teaching was very toxic too, but I got out pretty quickly. So Rita, the interesting thing with teaching is it's so similar. Education and medicine are so similar, and you just see people interchange between the two. The amount of nurses I have worked with that used to be teachers, and the amount of nurses I have worked with that went into teaching, and I nearly did too. So because I think that the skills required, the desire is kind of very similar for both of them, and then the toxicity is very similar in both of them. School environment definitely feels wrong. Yeah, hearing you loud and clear, Jane. Yeah. So all of this, we can go along and we can go, oh my God, I must not have a clue what I'm doing. I must be not very good at choosing what's right for me. And you can really feel really lost. So you might fall into the category where you have either experienced that your whole life, or maybe you experienced it once you went into like a job or a career. But some of you, and you are still bridge people, and this is the people that are often coming to me at the moment in sessions, and this is why I wanted to talk about it, because I know so many of you are experiencing this at the moment. 2020 did something to you where that has now, it is your experience now where you're looking around and going, oh my God, I can't stay in this. What am I doing in this? Whatever the career is, I've had people from all kinds of different people are looking at their marriage and going, oh, I can't stay in this. They're looking at their career. They're looking at all sorts of things. And so then there's this questioning, oh my God, has my whole life being dedicated to things I wasn't meant to do? Like, I could look back and I could go, so did I waste 19 years? And I get people saying that a lot in their sessions. So did I just waste my whole entire life? Okay. And here's the really, really vital part about the fact, this is what I now understand about being part of the bridge. is that just like with a bridge starts off in one place and you can take it to another. And we are part of a bridge. So we have to start off in what I now call the before times. I don't know why this came to me. It came to me like last year sometime. I just very naturally started calling before 2020 the before times. So we had to start in the before times. As off as it felt, as toxic as it felt, as whatever, we needed to be, because we are part of the bridge, we needed to be immersed in the old in order to energetically, physically be able to bridge into the new, right? But also in order to be able to guide people. If we had not, okay, Haruka, yes, I totally resonate. I felt for a long time I came to Earth by mistake. Yep. And I really spent, oh my God, probably a good 40 years, actually more. It was not until probably around sort of March 2020, maybe April 2020, that I listened to a Braca Goldsmith video. She's on here. She channels the Palladians. She's fabulous. The Palladians shared the message through her of what was happening, that this is it. And although they were saying a whole heap of things I had not heard with my physical ears before, from about 5 minutes into this hour-long video, I started crying, just tears of joy. The most overwhelming joy I have and relief I have literally ever felt. Just, oh, thank God we don't have to die for the relief. I always thought we had to die. Now, throughout my life, throughout my spiritual seeking and studies and immersion, I had come to the point where I realized I'm here for a reason. We are all here for a reason. Like, I have my lessons, I have my mastery. And I had started to also understand the body is actually a very powerful tool. I talk about that in the last few videos. The body is actually a very powerful tool. It is required in this realm. It is required for me to be able to embody and have this 3D experience. So I did know, okay, I'd gotten myself to the point where I realized, okay, it's for a reason. Okay, yeah, I haven't been forsaken. I haven't been dropped off in hell. But it always felt like hell in a way. It felt like hell to have a body. Like, why can't I just fly around? Why can't I just fly? Why can't I just flit around? Like, why do I have to do like physical stuff? I just couldn't get my head around it. And so then hearing her say what this time is about, just the relief of going, oh, and I realized, because I played it to a few other people, I sent it to them and they did not have the same reaction. I realized, okay, you're most likely not having the same experience. There's nothing wrong or whatever. You're having yours, I'm having mine. They obviously always felt okay here. And so that's fine too. But the relief of knowing that we are actually going to experience within the body and in this realm the ending of the madness, the asylum, the crazy lunatic asylum that we've all had to pretend is normal in order to be able to navigate this world, is coming to an end. We are actually the ones that will be part of ending it. And then throughout the last 2 years, my understanding, having opened up to that, has really grown. And my insights and the messages I'm receiving, and this one is, you had to experience what it was like, to be able to actually navigate people through that, to actually be part of a bridge, right? So it will be created through us. So I've written here, you are a bridge. You will envision new earth, but you had to be immersed in the old, in the before times. How can you envision new earth if you do not understand the journey of from here to there? How can you be part of a bridge? How can you help people? How can you be part of like the navigational team or the cleanup crew or the light showers or the way showers when you don't know the way, when you don't know how to do it? And so, like with anything, nothing changes till you do. You have to get yourself there first. You have to make these realizations and these understandings. You have to have these insights, not just of, well, this is all fucked. Like I can walk around a hospital and I can go, well, this is all fucked. But how do I get all the people that are in there? Okay, and just by the way, that is not my part, right? I am not one of the way showers of medicine in the new world, but many of you are. Many of you are. Many of you might still be in the system. Many of you might still be in systems. And so I want you to know you are not lost. You have not taken the wrong turn. You have not made the biggest mistakes of your lives. You have not wasted any time at all. You simply needed to be immersed in where you have been, either in the family dynamics, in the parenting dynamics, in the friendship circles, in the career choices, in the just in wherever you have found yourself in this world. You needed to be immersed into it in order, and I'm going to expand on this in a minute why it's so important, in order to get the energetics of that, be able to get yourself out of it enough to see it for what it is, and then focus and pivot on creating the new, which will complete the bridge. Okay, I just want to ask if there's any questions and just see what your comments are before I talk about a bit more about why we had to be immersed in it energetically. Angela, I feel like I've experienced this my whole life, particularly with family. Yes, many of us will have experienced it our whole life. And I'm telling you, many will start to realize still now. There are many that will be part of the bridge that don't yet realize. They are just starting to look around and go, like almost like shaking off kind of a slumber and recognizing, yeah, I don't think that was the way it was meant to be. I don't think this is the way it's meant to be. Have a look how many people realize that during the L word. I won't say it because you just don't know what gets flagged. You know, they were in their homes, they were with their families. Some looked around and went, oh my God, who are you people? I don't even like any of you. And others, I feel a lot of women that I knew looked around and thought, I want to be here more. This is actually what's really important to me, and I don't know why I'm living my life the way I'm living it. So a lot of that will have been part of recognizing too the toxicity. Sometimes you have to be removed from it for long enough in order to be able to understand how toxic something is. Haruka, I thought I felt this way because I'm a starseed and empath. Yeah, so I am going to talk about empath, Haruka, but yeah, for sure you would have felt this way. You do feel this way because you are a star seed or whatever you identify as being not from here. I know I'm not from here. However, what I want you to add on, Haruka, is, but I'm not lost and I'm not here by accident. And I haven't just spent that time here as some kind of suffering or torture or some kind of like punishment or some kind of lower experience. I think that was the other thing I always felt was like clearly This is lower to what I'm used to. Now, it may well be in terms of density, it may well be in terms of vibration, but it won't be in terms of mission. It won't be in terms of mastery, right? Because if you can immerse in this and still remember who you are and still go on that process of mastery, then like that's going to get you some gold stars in your sticker book. Jane, God, that is a freeing concept. I lament the waste a lot. There's no waste. Okay, here's why there's no waste. So I said that we had to be immersed and still to a degree are immersed in that the energetics of the old, the crumbling, dying system. I think also, you're part of the bridge when like the whole concept of it crumbling just makes your heart just want to sing. And then you see some people who are like, oh no, there was nothing wrong with it. Now they may still wake up out of that, who knows? But again, there's nothing wrong with them thinking there's nothing wrong with it. If they want to go with it, brilliant, fabulous. I am not going with it. And I am excited about the fact that we can be in this place and we don't have to have that pain and we don't have to have that yearning and we don't have to have that feeling of just being lost or misguided or that we've wasted any time. So I talk about this in my book, and it's something that really in the writing of it, I really came to understand myself, because so much of my book is about looking at the family and important, influential people in our childhood and how what they said and what they modeled programs our ego, and that then becomes our beliefs, and that then becomes like the lens through which we see life, and what our expectations are formed through that, and our beliefs are formed through that. And so, of course, our reality is formed through that. And so in that way, things don't change. They get handed down from generation to generation to generation to generation. And although we decide, I want to be different, so although we come into this experience and we go, well, this is like toxic, or this isn't healthy, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to have relationships like in this way. I'm not going to raise my children in this way. I'm not going to whatever, right? But we do. It creeps in. Why? Because there is a part of us that can really see that this is not the way we want to do things. This is not what resonates with us. And then there's the ego that has been programmed to have the beliefs that that is the only way. And so that is the way life is. That is just the way life is. Right. So a lot of the conflict is there. That, in a sense, is also the immersion in the old and yet the yearning for the new, right? And how you bridge that. So this is where I really started to question, well, why? Why is it that that process happens? Why is it that a soul comes into a family and yet knows this is not the dynamic I want to carry forward? This is not the vibration that I want to be in. This is not the patterns I want to continue. Why does this happen so much? Because in order to energetically transform and carry forward in order to expand the energetics, in order to expand the possibilities, you have to be in it. We have to be immersed in that energetic, and then carry it forward, and then open it up, and then break down the barriers and evolve out of it in order to evolve that lineage, right? So you've been placed in the perfect lineage. You've been placed in the perfect energetic lineage to master that, right? You are meant to be the one that breaks free. And then you do that work for everybody in that lineage that has ever had that lineage and everybody to come, right? So past generations and future generations benefit from you evolving that energetic. And this is what we're doing on the planet. I've said before that we would have been dispersed and not put in one place. Many people have felt really isolated their whole life, like no one thought like me, no one saw things like me, it can be very lonely. And then you can have felt like, where are my people? And now even the relationships that you had, even though they might have been based and built on stuff that was very 3D or very physical, you're losing even those now. And so now you can feel like, well, now I haven't. Well, the reason why we were dispersed is for safety. If we were all put in one place, like, oh yeah, that's all the star seeds over there, or that's all the way showers, or that's all the, that's all the people who like think the way we're doing things is pretty toxic and they want to change it, it would not have been safe. But also, we would not have had the impact that we've had by placing you in families that could benefit from your perspective, that could be lit up by your light, by you showing the way, by you setting the tone, by being placed in things like medicine, law, education, whatever. You have had the opportunity to shine within that and to have the biggest impact on the most amount of people. So can you see how we had to be dispersed? Now, how are you going to find each other? You're going to find each other by speaking up, by standing up, and by just shining like a bright motherfucker, because people are going to find you. That's why all the messages coming through at the moment is be authentic, be yourself, be aligned. It's key. It's key. It's key. Now is the time. Like, there is no more waiting. You have got to, if you want to find your people, if you want to fully be in your mission, if you want to fully rise into who you came here to be, your role as a bridge, your role as a way shower, whatever feels right for you, now is the time. Don't go against yourself and do it in ways that don't resonate with you. That doesn't mean you need to have a YouTube channel and you need to do videos. It doesn't mean you need to write a book. It doesn't mean you need to stand on a street corner. It doesn't mean you need to have a microphone and speak at a march. It doesn't mean any of those things. You check in with you. What is aligned with you? Haruka, it's your art. For someone else, it'll be whatever. It's you, just be you in your full authenticity, and you let that shine. You use the fact that you do not go against yourself. You use the fact that you value being aligned so much so, and you use your vision that you've always had, but you toned it down because other people didn't share it, or you felt like maybe you were the mad one. You really tone it up and you start living it. And in that way, you really have the biggest impact on the people around you. Does it make sense why we had to, as a bridge, be immersed in the old world, be immersed in wherever we have found ourselves, and also we've had one foot in the new? And we're starting to wake this up more and more and more. And as this gets more awakened, this is starting to feel more uncomfortable. When you're ready, don't stay behind. Don't stay behind. You've left that energetic print there. You've left it. People can now follow it. You can start to move forward. This is another way that you're going to know you're part of the bridge. Fighting the old doesn't feel right. Some people, okay, I'm going to talk about the empath thing and it might carry on from there really well. Any questions about what I've said, any insights, thoughts, let me know. Again, it's not that there's a lot here. It's just that I just want to give you a little bit of time to just and just see what comes. I I felt like I never fitted in, both in my family or in my husband's family, especially more so in the last 2 years. So I'm breaking through my lineage. Totally makes sense. Yep. Yep. You're breaking through the lineage and you are in that energetics, in the energy of that, and you are evolving it. Yeah, fighting the old doesn't feel right, Haruka. Yeah, it doesn't feel right for me either. I don't want to fight them because I don't want them to accept me. I don't want to, not just, actually that's not the first reason, not that I don't want them to accept me, and obviously that's different here in Victoria than it might be around the rest of the world. You might think, well, it's not that I'm not accepted in Victoria, obviously you aren't. I don't want to convince them to accept me, but on the other hand, the biggest thing with the old, fighting the old doesn't feel right, is I don't want it to stay alive. Like, I'm happy to see it crumble. I mean, it is combusting from the inside out. It is imploding. It is imploding itself, and I don't want any part of it to be here longer than it needs to be for whatever part it is playing in the evolution. I also felt I never fitted into. Oh, yep. Oh, I also felt I never fitted into my family, Angela, growing up, nor in my husband's family over the past 20 years. Yep. Yeah. And a lot of that will have been the fact that we see things differently, and it can be confronting to other people, because seeing things differently sometimes makes you a very powerful mirror. And people can look at that and they see reflected back to them. So sometimes the people that will attack you the most, like verbally or energetically, or just reject you outright, are the people that actually agree with you but have never had the courage to say it, and so therefore it's confronting to themselves of what they've lived or what they've accepted, or what they've kind of contorted themselves into to fit in. And who do you think you are now rejecting that, right? So there's those people. There's the people that are that yearn to do that and feel like they can't, and so they're like, who do you think you are? That's often the case. It's often the case. You'll see the people who get most upset with you for saying no ever are the ones who wish they could say no and feel like they can't. The people who get the most upset with you for having for being really clear on what you want in your life, or having abundance of anything, are the ones who wish they had that, don't know how to create it in their life, right? So that's most likely, Rita and Angela, what will have been going on is you're probably surrounded by a lot of people who really, you're a very powerful teacher to, and a very powerful way shower. It's about staying aligned with yourself and not using them as your gauge, right? So, any questions? Any cards for that? One of these. Okay. And then I want to talk about empath just a little bit, because I want to speak to my take on it, which might be a little bit different, like when I spoke about the inner child. It's different to how a lot of people. Okay, so overcoming fear. This is the Matt Kahn, the Healing Mantra deck. And overcoming fear. And on the back it says, I will transcend every loss. I will transcend every loss. Okay, so that's the card for the bridge conversation. Now I want to talk about being an empath. It's a little bit controversial the way I see it for a lot of people that consider themselves empaths. They don't love it. Okay. So to me, an empath is the normal state of being when we have not shut ourselves down. when we are not disconnected. We cannot be anything other than an empath because we are all one. There is only one of us here. There is one of us having currently in the illusion of there being many of us. And there is an illusion of separation. Depending on how much we are in the illusion of separation, depending on how much we are in our ego, which is the part of our minds that enables the illusion of separation, as to how disconnected we are from each other, as to how disconnected we are from the earth, as to how disconnected we are from animals, plants, and ourselves. So when you watch somebody, now the whole kind of narrative of empath and narcissist is a concept created by ego for ego. Ego really likes empath and narcissist because ego loves to put people into good guy, bad guy narratives. Black and white, good guy, bad guy, great. Let's look for the empaths. Let's look for the narcissists. Stay away from the narcissists. Let's be drawn to the empaths. They're actually not necessarily as different as what we think. The narcissist can be as sensitive as the empath, but it's in a different perspective. So you can have an empath, so you can be in your empathy. Let's actually get rid of the title and the label completely, and people are gonna, I know. Okay. It's okay. They can't, okay, so let's get rid of it completely. And remember, I'm just sharing what feels right for me. We are all connected to each other and to everything there is on the planet. When we are fully in that connection, we are empathetic. We feel what the other feels. We feel what the animal feels. We feel what the tree feels. We feel what the earth feels, the grieving. We feel each other's feelings. That is our normal state of being. When we are, the more fully immersed we are in the illusion of separation, the more we can disconnect from that. The more fully we are in systems like Western medicine, the more we have to disconnect from that in order to even be able to survive in the system. We are encouraged to disconnect from the earth. We are encouraged to disconnect from animals. We are encouraged to disconnect from everything and only be in our and fully be in our illusion of separation. When you go through life and you start to remember and you start to feel emotions of connection and you start to pick up other people's energies and their feelings and their emotions, it for sure can be very confusing, because the point of mastery to be able to get to is to be able to do that, and yet to still, because we're still in an experience of separation, to then be able to separate out what is yours and what is mine, right? So that's the mastery there. What is yours and what is mine? Also, to be able to understand, where is my empathy being used as a manipulative tool? Because humans are empathetic, it is used as a manipulation tool by the matrix, by the shadow forces, by whatever you want to call them, by the powers that were, to manipulate us into feeling certain things. This is why we're so easily manipulated through movies and through, we can watch a movie and howl, we can laugh with people, we can get so invested. We can read a book and then mourn when we close the last page because we don't want those characters to leave our lives. We can watch the fires and the floods, and with the right music and the right thing, we will give all the money we have, and we will give our energy, and we will invest all of our time, because we are empathetic beings. This is our normal state. So when you start to realize that, so what was happening to me throughout my life is that there were some people I just literally couldn't be around without feeling really physically unwell. Or I would go to, so there was a period of time where I literally could not eat in a cafe, because the minute I sat down in the seat, I was absorbing so much what was coming to me from the person that had sat there before. I remember the time I went to my hairdresser and I sat down, and about half an hour into kind of the colour, I said to her, "Oh my God," I said, "I feel my heart is palpitating. I don't know what is going on. I don't have anything else planned today, but I feel like I'm in a hurry." And she said, "Oh, that's the lady that just sat there before you. She's always in a hurry and she's always stressing that I have to be quick, quick, quick." So at that time, that was definitely difficult. But what I have learnt over the years, the decades, is that the problem there wasn't the feeling of it, it was the lack of boundaries that I had of just absorbing other people's stuff, because I went through life wanting to fix people. I went through life wanting to be a superhero that just came along and went, "Give me this, give me, I'll carry that, I'll do that, I'll carry that." Now, I was raised to be like that. Many of us are. So you need to look at, okay, where did that start from? But in the same token, this is our normal, natural who we are. We are these beings that have come to be this bridge, that have come to be this light, right? We're meant to be sensitive. When we're in our sensitivity fully, that's when we're actually our most powerful. What we need to do with that whole empath thing, in the way that it's been sold to us, is we need to become so conscious of it. We need to use it as a gauge to start to question into everything. Am I feeling this? Is this even mine? And also, anything that comes to us, the more, because you can get triggered into that as much as you can get triggered into anger. In a sense, it's still a trigger, because it's still activating something in you that you want to then process, right? So rather than fixing it, if when you do feel things, Haruka, or anybody listening, when you do start to pick things up from people and feel them, don't go up to here with it straight away. Just actually breathe it out of your body. Just literally breathe it out of your body. And then you can start to ask, was that for me? Is there something I need to know about the feeling I just had? Because you want to get rid of the narratives that are being shown to you on the news. The narratives that are being shown to you are intended to manipulate a response from you, because your emotions and your energetics are harnessed. They're manipulated for certain narratives, right? So I was talking about this, I think it was last week, with the ads that are on the ABC and the SBS, where the SBS and SBS, where they bombard you with, here's the starving African children, and here's, the elephant being tortured, and here's the bear in a cage, and this is literally all they will show you. Now, are all those things happening? Well, yes. I'm not saying go, well, I don't care, but I'm saying just stop and ask the question, why are you showing me this? Why do you want me to see this? If it's something that you actually feel in your day-to-day life, like when you're actually observing or seeing something, you can literally just breathe and breathe out love, and just breathe love over that situation. This is not mine to fix, but I will breathe love onto that situation, is a way that you could Haruka, anybody else, let me know how that is landing with you, resonating with you, if that is helpful, if you are somebody that finds it difficult to navigate. So we are all empaths. That is the normal state of human being. It's the normal state of being that we are. It is something that we need to become, because you can be a conscious empath, you can be an unconscious empath. And if you are an unconscious empath, you're just going to be one big trigger. And that's people who will say, well, I'm an empath, so you've upset me. Or I'm an empath, so just like trigger, 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 trigger. Consciously, we would understand, okay, this is a really normal way to be. This is who I am. This is who we all are, when we remember there is no separation. The separation is an illusion. However, whilst I'm in this experience, the separation is part of what is making me learn mastery. And so I master this space around me, and I decide what enters it. I decide what enters it. So when something enters it, I'm not going to straight away take it on and go, right, how do I need to fix this? How can I heal this? How can I make you feel better? How can I whatever? I'm just going to go, and then I'll start with the question, is this for me? We can go more into this next Monday. If everybody that's listening to this wants more info, wants more in depth, wants to keep this conversation going, just let me know. Like on the rewatch, just put questions or comments, and then we can definitely talk more about this. Hello, Cosmic Carly. Lisa, at 8 years old, I realized I had to be on this planet but did not belong in this version of the planet. I've been yearning for a place I didn't even know, like a homesick feeling. I'm 52 now, Lisa. Yep. I've been homesick. Yeah. And the thing is, I did actually leave my home. And so that homesickness made sense with what was happening here. But I realized it was like way beyond that. It was actually a yearning for being where I'm meant to be. Lisa, have you been listening to the whole thing? I hope you heard the start of it. If you didn't, I talk about that thing. So if you've been here the whole time, I hope you have. But if you haven't, go back and have a listen. Jane, super helpful and makes sense looking at the world around us. So much disconnection from being. Yeah, Jane. So let's talk about that disconnect in terms of how much we're encouraged. So here's the thing, right? This is how we get manipulated. This is how intentional it is, and this is how we get manipulated. We get encouraged to disconnect. The devices, the alcohol, the sex, the shopping, the exercise, the movies, the fashion, all of it, the stuff, the cars, the houses, all of it. Disconnect, 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 disconnect. And most people want to disconnect, really want to disconnect, because their mind is torture, right? Most people, like mine was. In most people's minds, it's like torture. So we want to get out of that. Most people's bodies are tired and depleted and in pain. So they want to get out of that. Most people's relationships are unfulfilling and with people they don't even necessarily like, and they don't feel understood and they don't feel heard. So they want to get out of that. So there's all these things where you're encouraged just to find a way out. And then you've got all of these emotions that are just sitting there unfelt, and then they tap into that by showing you through the news, through ads, through narratives that play out on the world stage, or in particular certain countries, certain areas, catastrophes, all that fear narrative, because you've got all this unfelt stuff that can now be harnessed, and you send it, and they use it. They use it, right? So think about the fact that if somebody runs an ad campaign of fear, right? Like, oh my God, if you don't sign up to my thing, you're gonna whatever, right? You know how so many people work that way in their business. And then they get all this money flow to them because people go, oh my God, I'm too scared not to sign up. I need to have this. It'll really save my life, da, da, da. And they sign up. And all the money flows to that person. The same works in this matrix manipulative kind of like manipulating society, manipulating humanity way. They send something out, and then the thing that flows in doesn't have to just be money, although it is. Have a look at the floods, the fires, the this, the that, the all of it. It doesn't have to just be money. It's energetics get sent. Your power you send away. It's another really good way to think about it, Haruka. Like, I'm giving away my power when I don't recognize, because as much as I've just said, there's only one of us here, and the illusion is a separation. Whilst we're in this, we are here to master being able to navigate all of it and not get lost in it. So that is part of it. So yeah. Hi, Fiona. 100% this is me. Totally always going into solution mode. Take everything on, need to learn to breathe. So you breathe, you give up. So let's talk about this next Monday and anything else that comes through, right? So hanging up the cape of superhero, right? And okay, what do we need to know? Let's see what's here today, and then what we might want to move into based on what questions you have or what comes through. One from here. Okay. So let's get some cards. This one. Love. Okay, this is the Wild Offering, Tosha Silver. Love. And it says, it's not about finding love. You are love itself. Help me, Lord, to send so much compassion and caring to the inner child that I always remember I myself am love. Okay, so I talked last week about inner child. I think it's last week before, and my take on it. So I don't love the way that's worded, but you know, I would probably change it to myself, that I always remember. So it's not about finding love. You are love itself. Help me, Lord, to send so much compassion and caring to myself that I always remember I myself am love. Okay, I love that. So thank you for that. So what that is reminding us is, whatever we see missing, if I'm walking down the street and I see somebody speak not very nicely to their child, or I see something happening that you know, and I feel for that situation, but it's not mine to fix, then I can stop, I can breathe, and I can ask, where am I withholding love? Where am I withholding love? Where am I being judgmental? Where am I yelling too much? Where am I bullying? Where am I whatever, right? And you start to, okay, so that's definitely what we can move into. Okay. Let me bring what is missing. Okay, I want to talk about that next week, because it's its own good chunk of stuff, and I want to talk about what to do with what comes your way. Okay, what to do with what comes your way, because that's another thing too about, okay, well, if I'm going to just breathe, then I'm going to remember that it's not my thing to fix. What do I do with it when it's in my body? So let's talk about that next week. Yes, thank you. I felt that the state of being an empath is a normal state. It is. And it's beautiful, Haruka, because it means you're not disconnected. Jane, achieving, as in it's another addiction, distraction. Yes. Yes. All the ways that we've been taught make us a success. The doing, the addiction to doing. Yes. The world has disconnected to humanity and given away their power. We need to travel that bridge to reconnect with each other. We do. That's really beautiful, Rita. And then we need to remember we are the bridge. We are the bridge. And now we fully come into our own. Like, that's the beauty of this. We get to fully come into our own now, because we are the bridge. And I feel like for however many years you've been on the planet, if you felt like that, you are definitely So when I test up, it's like we're definitely 3/4 of the way there. We are 3/4 of the way there. So we're over halfway on the bridge. We're 3/4 of the way there, which means we are much closer to kind of anchoring in that heaven on earth energy, that evolve, that expansiveness, that, you know, we're out of the asylum. We're out of the asylum. And I mean, I want to leave it with this. If you really tune in and start to really ask yourself, how much am I now in the asylum only when I choose to be? And how much, and this is part of the gift, wherever you are, I don't know what it's like for you to navigate where you are, but here in Victoria, not being means there's a lot of things closed off, and all the time, every single day, I think that is a gift. That is a gift to help me navigate outside of the matrix. That is a gift so that I'm not so reliant on the things that do take you away and that do kind of keep you stuck in that whole thing of like, well, this is what we're here for. It's not what we're here for. Any closing thoughts? Any closing questions? And let me know how you feel about what we're going to talk about next week. But anything that comes up, any questions, definitely happy to expand on that as well. Absolutely seeing more and more as a gift. Yeah. Yeah. Where are you, Rita? Oh, I think I know where you are. If you don't want to stay on here, don't say. But I think I just remembered asking you and you telling me. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's really lovely. Interestingly, so, you know, I'm a big feeler. Like I feel stuff all the time, and it's not unusual for me to sit in a room with people that, you know, I've known for a long time and say, what's wrong? And then say, oh, nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. And then a minute later they go, oh, actually, now there is, you know, actually there is something. You know, I can pick stuff up really subtly, really subtle changes. And I was saying to my friend that I'm really loving the YouTube lives, and I actually like them more than Instagram lives. Instagram lives are like, and I like them. It's not that I don't like Instagram lives, but the energy of an Instagram live is like telling a group of people that you're going to be on this street corner with your soapbox and your microphone out on that particular date. And so when you start talking, some of the people, you know, show up for sure, but anyone passing by, people walk up, have a look, walk back, walk on. People are constantly coming in, having a look what's going on here. It's a really open energy. What I'm loving about this year is it just feels like a more closed container. People don't tend to probably stumble here by accident. They're here because they're choosing to be. They're here because, oh, you're in Queensland, Rita. They're here because they're wanting to be here. And so it feels more like the intention is set. The energy is kind of set. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like it feels like a more of a private container. Not that it has to be, it's open to anybody, obviously, but yeah, not sure how you feel about that. Okay, a card to go. Remember to start to tune in. What tone are you going to set for the week? Do it consciously. Do it intentionally. What tone are you going to set for the week? If you want to share it, I'd love to know. And we'll do a card to go. Please share the video if there's anyone you think will benefit from watching, and please let people know to join us next Monday. Okay, water your garden. This is from the Starseed Oracle, Rebecca Campbell. Water your garden. Okay, are you telling me this specifically because I've been a bit slack? Okay, nourishment, body care, tenderness, and rest. It's a beautiful visual. Look at that. The full moon? That is the full moon. Nourishment, body care, tenderness, rest. Oh, that's beautiful. Thanks, spot on as usual. Missed the first part, so I need to go back. Yes, do, Fiona. Everything will make sense. Definitely feels like being in your living room with a group of girlfriends. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I kind of feel that energy too. It's nice. You're welcome, Angela. Great, Fiona. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Happy Monday. Enjoy the rest of your day. And if you watch it back over or anything comes to you, just write it in the comments underneath, and I'll see whatever else comes for. Oh, you're in bed with a cold. Yeah. Nourishment, body care, tenderness, rest. And just allow yourself to process whatever's moving through. All right, everyone, much love. And I will see you next Monday.